you are most likely doing two major mistakes. Number one, you think you can just borrow the colors from your wardrobe palette right into your makeup palette and use those colors for your eyeshadow, lipstick, your blush, and so on. And number two, you are following every makeup trend. And then you maybe figure it out in a decade or longer what really suits you through, again, trial and error, exactly the time frame where usually your color type changes, which is in your 30s and in your 50s. More than a decade ago, I wanted to break that hopeless cycle by developing a system that would not only provide colors for your wardrobe, but for makeup and for your hair colors, so that your entire style is consistent and cohesive. And so that you don't have to seek out experts from these different niches. And I go even further and deeper than that. I provide makeup application tips for your specific face shape and polarity profile, as well as product recommendations. So the shopping for the products is actually easy and seamless for you. If you follow one of the major trends in recent months, it is the contrast makeup theory, which is pretty popular still. It assumes that you should mirror your contrast with the type of makeup that you apply. For example, if you have high contrast, as you can see with this lady, she should apply high contrast makeup to create balance and to look radiant. For someone who has a medium contrast, like this lady, she should apply medium contrast makeup to look radiant and balanced and not overpowered. She should not go for high contrast makeup because that will overpower her. The theory goes on to explain that low contrast types, as you can see with this lady, should only use low contrast type of makeup. It does sound very logical and very true, but it only works for very specific facial proportions and ethnicities. So when it comes to aligned makeup, it is not only about your contrast, as you will see in a minute. It is also about your facial design and your proportions, your ethnicity, and your polarity and clarity profile, something that no one is talking about. It is also very crucial to understand that your wardrobe colors, whether you got the wardrobe palette from me or from any other analyst, are not the same as your makeup colors. So you cannot just adapt your wardrobe colors to your makeup palette. Now, when we go back to my client and we just apply the biggest trend in makeup right now with her seasonal colors, we would see that she has a semi-high contrast, first of all, based on the analysis that I have given. So she would assume that she needs to apply high contrast makeup. And these are some of the colors that are indeed in her color palette, despite being a soft summer, which usually means that you have soft chroma, that you should avoid brighter colors, yet this type of red is in her palette, so she could assume that this would fit her. This overpowers her color type and it distorts her features. The difference between my analysis and other analysis systems is that my analysis is based on 20 years of scientific research and development. So it is not based on color theory. It is also 100% personalized, so I don't put you in any type of boxes. I'm trying to understand your unique features and your unique color type to then apply according colors. It is also different because it is inclusive for all ethnicities. And the last difference is that it is cohesive, as I said in the beginning, for wardrobe, hair, and makeup. These work together based on a fundamental system based in science. You may never have heard anything about polarity profile. Now, what I mean by polarity profile is how many of her facial features are in the feminine category and how many are in the masculine category, and how many are balanced. It is important to understand that it is a spectrum. It is not point A, point B, and C. It is a spectrum, and understanding the spectrum and how the features correlate with each other, and especially which features are masculine or feminine or balanced, is very crucial to understand when it comes to applying the right makeup to your face. If the goal is balance and radiance, you could have other goals: to stand out, to rebel, to create a dissonant look. Then this video is not for you. My work mainly aims to create the most amount of radiance, alignment, and harmony. Now let's look at her facial features. For example, let's start with the eyes. These are considered balanced in my system, meaning they are neither masculine nor feminine. They are right in the middle, so to speak. Her nose, on the other hand, has a masculine quality. Her lips are also on the masculine side, so thinner lips are considered more masculine. They are also on the wider side, which is also considered more on the masculine side. Now, this is not good or bad. It's just understanding what that means for your makeup. What type of makeup should you apply to emphasize the right features? Whether you want to look overly masculine, balanced, or feminine. It all depends on the goal that you have. Now, her eyebrows are the only feminine feature in her face. Whether they are naturally rounded like these or whether she has plucked them in this shape, I don't know, but they have a strong feminine energy. Now, her face shape overall, on the other hand, is balanced again. Based on my analysis, there are 2 lipstick finishes that I would recommend her wearing. Before I show you these, I want to bring certain aspects to your attention. When it comes to choosing different lipstick finishes, it's not very straightforward, as you might think. As we age, for example, our skin tends to be drier and drier with the years. So it will heavily depend on the condition of your lips, for example, what kind of finish you should be choosing. If your skin, for example, is super dry, which usually starts when we reach our 30s, and any attempts to moisturize or keep the lips moisturized long-term have failed for you, I really don't recommend going with matte lipstick, even though I would recommend matte lipstick for thinner lips. In this case, you can go with satin, which usually contains a lot more moisturizing ingredients. Now, if your lips are hydrated well, no matter your age, you can absolutely go with matte lipsticks, especially if your lips are thin and you have a soft chroma type. But again, it also depends on the ingredients of the lipstick in relation to your skin type. Now, there are some matte lipsticks that can keep your lips moisturized really well, while others will dry them out even more. So it really depends on the brand and what kind of ingredients they are using. And to add to the complexity of things, it also depends on the depth of the lipstick color, how dark the lipstick color is. For example, darker lipstick shades can usually carry shinier finishes much better than lighter lipstick colors. They seem more subtle because less light is reflected because of the depth of the lipstick color. It also depends on the lighting, the setting, and the occasion where you are wearing this specific lipstick. A glossy or sheer lipstick can be beautifully worn during an evening event, while it might be too much during daytime. So as you can see, there are many aspects that really play a role in what kind of finish you should be choosing. Now, the 2 lipstick finishes that I recommend my clients to wear is satin or matte, and it will depend on the setting, the occasion, the condition of her skin, and other factors. This lipstick color in these 2 finishes works beautifully for daytime. It can work also in the evening, depending on what color she is wearing in her outfit. But I would usually recommend choosing different lipstick colors for an evening event because the lighting changes massively. You most probably choose also different type of wardrobe colors that stand out even more. This is a natural lipstick color that is beautiful for every day, for daytime, for most occasions. Next up is her eyeshadow. When it comes to eyeshadow application, I am looking at your eye shape, which in this case is a partially hooded eye, which has implications in how she should be using her eyeshadow. She also has deep set eyes, which correlates to a similar recommendation in terms of how she should apply her makeup. And this is the eyeshadow color that I recommend her wearing, called Shadow Dust. This shade particularly works beautifully with Sorbet Lily, the lipstick that I have developed for her in this palette. And you can see that the application in this photograph is very minimal. She does wear mascara in this image, so it is influencing the look of it. And also when it comes to mascara and eyeliner, there are also very specific recommendations that I would give every specific color type and eye shape, for example. Now, when it comes to blush, I do look at the face shape of my client to determine where to place the blush. This is what it would look like if I apply the right blush color, Lake Messazir, to her face. It is very subtle for her specific color type because of her polarity profile. I don't recommend going overboard with makeup just in general, but emphasizing just the right features to elevate her femininity. Now, this blush color will particularly do that, as it has a very feminine quality, the color, the shade. In both cases, eyeshadow and blush, I do recommend for my client to use matte finishes. And here is the full makeup look. When I apply all the products that I found and all the colors, this is how she would look like with the eyeshadow, the lipstick, and the blush. It is much more subtle than the makeup look that I've shown in the beginning. With only these 3 products, it is absolutely possible to make your face glow and look radiant. You don't need massive amounts of makeup to do so, especially when you know what kind of colors to use, how to apply those colors, and what features to emphasize based on your facial design and your polarity profile.